And welcome into part 5 of our 2-week summer series chronicling Siena's newest men's and women's basketball freshman called Fresh Faces. Kicking off week number 2, we're pleased to be joined by a 6'2 guard out of St. Vincent St. Mary in Akron, Ohio, DaVonte Beard. And DaVonte, welcome to Siena.
Thanks.
Well, now, DaVonte, initially you had committed to St. Francis of Pennsylvania, decided to get back into the recruiting process after, had a number of big schools looking at you. Talk a little bit about the decision to make yourself available again and what ultimately led you to Siena.
Pretty much during the beginning of my high school season, I only had one school. During the summer, I kind of lost a couple schools playing AAU and stuff. So when it got to the start of my senior season, I only had one school. So I decided to commit there because I didn't feel like I was going to get anything else. I didn't know any other coaches that were, recruiting me or anything like that, so I ended up committing there. But eventually I started thinking to myself, well, I think I'm good enough to get a lot more looks, and stuff like that. So I reopened my commitment just so that, pretty much to see like what other schools I can get. As the season went on, I got a lot more looks from Siena. It was probably, I think it was the first look that I got. And everything about Siena was just, when I came on my visit, was great. Siena was there from, I think, game 4 of my senior season, and they just followed me throughout. I think Coach Carter was at my state championship game, actually. So he followed me throughout the whole season, and it just feels so much like a family at Siena.
Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you. Obviously, people hear the name St. Vincent St. Mary. The first thing that comes to their name after DaVonte Beard, of course, is LeBron James. Obviously, LeBron is from Akron, and he played at St. Vincent St. Mary. I know it's a big community there, but any knowledge of LeBron or his family or any good LeBron stories you have to share?
I don't dislike LeBron or anything. He came to a lot of open gyms and stuff, like when he played for the Cavaliers. And eventually, like when he went to the Heat, he didn't really show up as much. My sophomore year, we went to the state championship again, and he came to our state championship game. He was, rooting for us, cheering us on and stuff like that. He gave us a speech in our locker room, actually, before the game. So, LeBron's he's a real cool person, but I'm still more of a Kobe fan.
I know, he's not even your favorite athlete. Kobe Bryant is instead.
Yeah, I've always liked Kobe Bryant since I was a little kid. Like, as soon as I started getting a hang of basketball and stuff, I've always liked Kobe Bryant. My first team that I ever played for was actually called the Little Lakers. So, I've always been a Kobe fan. And, LeBron's a good player, don't get me wrong, but I like Kobe all the way.
Now, with high school basketball, you look at the different websites out there in TV, and obviously like ESPN does a lot of games with a lot of the high school teams. How much did that help, or how much did that maybe add pressure to you in high school, knowing that St. Vincent St. Mary was getting a lot of coverage because it was LeBron's high school, and maybe helping you state your case for college teams, but also putting pressure on as well?
I think not only we had a lot of pressure playing against other teams too. Since we were LeBron's school, literally every team that we played their best game against us. We would go scout a team, and they would play terrible. And then when it comes to them playing us, it's like they're playing against the greatest of all time, like Michael Jordan's on the court or something like that. So it was a lot of pressure, playing at St. V. It was a great experience for me too, though. We got a lot of, like you said, a lot of coverage on us and stuff, and a lot of college coaches like to recruit, from big-time schools, and since we were one of the big-time schools, I got a lot of coverage and I got a lot of recruitment from that.
You're watching part 5 of our 2-week summer series, Fresh Faces. Check back daily to SienaSaints.com for new features on each of the Siena men's and women's basketball freshmen. Joined today by men's freshman DaVonte Beard, a 6'2 combo guard out of St. Vincent St. Mary in Akron, Ohio. And DaVonte, tell us a little about your game. I hear you're a very versatile player at both ends. What can the fans expect to see out of your repertoire this year?
Well, number one, I'm going to defend. I like to sit down and defend pretty well. I get a lot of steals. Well, in high school I did. Hopefully I can do the same thing here. That's my number one goal. Secondly, I like to bring. I got a drive and kick that I can do most of the time, or I can drive and get to the rim, and I can shoot it pretty well too. So people that's gonna have to guard me are gonna have to probably lock up a little bit.
You started playing with some of your new teammates and some former Saints here in the past week. Talk a little bit about that experience.
It was fun. You know, we have a lot of good players in Siena, a lot of good guard play. The post players are working really hard down low. And I can see the guards have a lot of freedom. You know, they run a lot of screen and roll type stuff, and you know, Coach B, he really counts on his guards to most of the time get the job done. So hopefully, you know, I can fit in there somewhere.
I hear you're a big fan of older school rap. What are some of your favorite artists?
Well, I like 50 Cent. You know, I listen to a lot of 50 Cent. I listen to some singers, Avant, you know, Alicia Keys. I mean, pretty much a lot of old school stuff I like to listen to. I'm just not like one of those kids that the new releases and stuff, they just fall in love with that. I mean, I like all types of music.
So you worried me when you say 50 Cent is old school, because that was my generation. That's another story for another day. You have a couple of tattoos. Tell us a little bit about your tattoos and the stories behind them.
Well, this one, you know, this is my mother's name. This was my third tattoo, I believe. I got this because my mother's one of the best people in my life, and I love her to death. So I thought, well, if I'm gonna get a tattoo, most definitely I should, you know, put her name somewhere on my body, you know. So this one right here, I got this writing right here. It says "Family First." I love my family to death. I have my mother and 2 little brothers, and they mean the world to me. So, you know, if I'm gonna, like I said, if I'm gonna put something on my body, it's gonna mean something, most definitely to me. And I just got all this added a couple weeks ago. And then I have another tattoo up here. This was my first tattoo. My mom took me to get it. It's just, you know, a crown with my name through the middle initials. There's a basketball on the top right here, a little shadow work here. And pretty much, I feel like if I get a tattoo, you know, I want it to mean something. I don't want to just, you know, ink my body up like some other people in this world do. I want every tattoo to mean something to me.
So maybe any ideas of like Jason Terry getting a 4th tattoo with a MAC championship trophy somewhere as motivation? Or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would like to bring a MAC championship here, but I don't know about tattooing on my body.
Well, Devonte, thanks so much for taking some time to join us, and we look forward to watching you play the next 4 years.
Most definitely.
Once again, that was DaVonte Beard here, part 5 of Fresh Faces. We thank DaVonte for joining us. Remind you to join us back tomorrow for part 6 of our series. We'll be joined by women's basketball freshman Kim Lysis-Cote.